Well, we want to welcome everybody to our AMA live from Beechwood Golf Course. We're very excited to be announcing that Beechwood will be opening up this Friday. As many of our residents and others in the area know, that Beechwood did close on April 4th. We did have to make that very difficult decision to completely close the course. We did that, first of all, for the community's health, and secondly, for our employees' health. We had some issues where we made the decisions with the stay-at-home order that we reduced our staff greatly, and we also made the decision not to do any public interfacing. So we did close the clubhouse, but kept the course open for a short time. Unfortunately, that led to some disorderly behavior. We did have quite a few golfers making the drive in from Michigan and Illinois, which obviously flew in the face of the stay-at-home order and the travel restrictions. So the decision was made to close then. It was a very difficult one for us. We have greatly missed having golf out here. We do believe this is a jewel of our city and one of the finer courses in Northwest Indiana. So we're very excited, though, to have it opening back up this week. And we do have some protocols in place that we will be asking people to use. So, Kyle, where are we at with protocols, and how are we getting ready to open this course?
Yes, so when we get opened up on Friday, we're going to have one person per cart. The Flagsticks will remain in the cups at all times. We have pool noodles that we've inserted in the bottom of the cup so that the golf ball will not go to the bottom. You'll just be able to pick up your golf ball and move on. Obviously, we'll follow the social distancing of 6 feet. We will not have any trap rakes or ball washers out there. Our on-course bathrooms will be closed, but we will have our clubhouse bathrooms open. Food and beverage will be takeout only. We'll be encouraging people to call us when they make the turn from the 9th hole to the 10th tee. We'll have their food ready for them, come in, pick it up, take it out, and go back onto the golf course. Upon completion of every round, we'll have trash receptacles out there so people can throw their trash away. Upon that time, our cart staff will take the cart, disinfect it, let the disinfectant dry, take it to our wash bin, go ahead and wash the carts off, and either turn them around for reuse or stage them for the next day. So those are our COVID-19 protocols.
So in reality, not a whole lot different than usual, other than the one person per cart and asking them not to pull the flag stick. Of course, that became a rule last year anyways,
correct.
Right? That the
yep. So that helps with the rules for the USGA that you don't have to pull the flag. So we did use most of these policies prior to us closing down, and we feel like most of them worked. We tweaked one or two here and there, but by and large, and some of the other golf courses in the community have been doing some of these things too. So from the people I speak with, it seems like everything's going well.
Okay, great. Of course, with this being late April, one of the issues we're running into is we're getting a lot of rain here over the last few days. So with 2 or 3 inches already down and some rain projected for tomorrow, too early to anticipate what we'll be doing with carts?
Correct. Chances aren't great for Friday to run carts. We're hoping it's supposed to be high winds tomorrow. We have a chance, maybe the course drying out enough where we can run carts on Friday. More hopeful for Saturday. It's supposed to be beautiful, 70 plus. So hoping for Mother Nature to cooperate for us for when we reopen.
Okay. And we have now brought back not a complete maintenance staff or a complete clubhouse staff, but an operational staff that I think we can get by on. What are some of the preparations that we've been doing to get the course ready from where we had been maintaining it at a minimal level to now being ready for the public? Sure.
Through the early part of April, we had 4 or 5 full-time staff on, and we were just doing the basics of cutting greens, tees, fairways, and rough. This past week and a half or so, we brought back some of our other maintenance crew, and now we're performing more of the standard duties. We top dressed our greens to try to get them firmed up with being a little bit more wetter out there, raking traps, rolling greens, changing cups, putting out our tee signs out for the golf course for the holes. Just more of the preparations for golf as opposed to just maintaining cutting grass.
Okay. And I think it's important everybody to know that for the most part, we're pretty functional. I mean, you're still going to be able to get some food and beverages while you're out here. It's obviously going to be all from a carryout perspective. What other type of amenities are we still going to be doing? I mean, you're still going to be offering lessons. We still have our pro shop available.
Yes. We'll as of next week, starting Monday, we'll start our leagues. Again, with our same policies as regular play, where we're the one person per cart. We did get a brand new fleet of Yamaha gas carts, so we have fully functional fleet. So we should have enough to keep up with demand, especially from a league perspective. So Monday morning we'll start senior league and Monday night league and so on. So those leagues will go on as scheduled starting next week. Junior programs, we don't have dates yet on those. We're kind of waiting from the organizations that be to tell us that we're able to do that.
Right.
I know our PGA Junior League is on a rain delay. They can't start any preparations for anything till at least May 10th. So we're hoping that come May 10th, they'll give us the go-ahead to start scheduling our matches and our practices. The goal is to, hopefully maybe get that going in June, run that June and July. And then we also do a Monday morning junior program, which is purely instructional. We have 2 sessions for that in the mornings. So again, as we get more updates as to when we can kind of gather in more numbers, then we'll start doing those programs. But luckily with golf being outdoors,
Sure.
we have a much better opportunity to, socially distance and perform, get people in different groups, smaller groups where they can be separated. So we're very hopeful that we'll be back to as much as business as normal as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that hits on a great point. And I think the question would be, why reopen the golf course now? Why is now the right time? We knew all along that golf was a sport that would allow us to social distance, and it would allow a certain segment of the community to still have an outlet for exercise. And we still believe that. I mean, I just know from my own golfing experience, I'm pretty sure I could social distance to about 20 feet, even on the tee box. You can stay, yeah. And then I can definitely social distance after I tee off, because I'm usually away from the group. But I think that there's no doubt about it that golf provides an opportunity. And I think we'll see more walkers,
Sure.
Especially with the one cart limit. And I think it just opens up a whole opportunity for people to get out there. And I think that just speaks to the philosophy of what we've been trying to do with our parks. We've had to limit some of the amenities, but we want our parks to be open for people to get physical exercise, to get fresh air. There's certainly a mental aspect of this. And I think, we're all starting to realize staying cooped up, not necessarily best for our mental wellness. So getting out and doing the things that we enjoy doing, and being able to do some socialization, but doing it at a distances level will be a positive thing. And so I think that's why golf is important. Of course, the governor had left the golf industry in throughout the entire stay-at-home order. As I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, we had our reasons for why we felt we needed to be closed for that short term. But I think there are a lot of good reasons for us to be open now. So we're pretty excited. I think one of the other things you hit upon is the fact that we do have all these new carts. We were pretty excited. We have these new 2020 carts that we've leased. I think that really takes our golf course up to another level. When you look at some of the improvements we've made out here in recent years, whether it's the complete clubhouse renovation, the new pavilion, the double row irrigation system, which I don't think we've turned on this week yet. But, these are all the things I think have made us a top golf course. And I know you and your staff have been pretty excited to get golf going this year.
Absolutely. We're ready to hit the ground running, and then had to hit the pause button for a little while. But we feel like, last spring was so poor. We're hoping that, after this, next couple of days of rain, that we're going to get some good weather. And like you said, I think people are chomping at the bit to go get some exercise. So I think you are going to see more people start to walk, because you see health clubs closed, gym memberships, you're, kind of on hold. So I think people are doing what they can to try to find a way to get some exercise. And as you mentioned, golf checks that box for sure.
And we are limiting the number of people that can come in the clubhouse, and obviously want to stay in compliance with the mayor's orders, as well as just good common sense social distancing. So when somebody does come to the clubhouse, they're ready to walk in, what should they expect? Should they be watching for anything to make sure they're not overcrowding areas?
Yes. So we've limited to 6 people in the clubhouse at any one point in time.
Okay.
And what also helps with that is we've staggered tee times, extending our tee time intervals, so that, as a foursome comes in, it's a good 15, 20 minutes before that next group's going to go off on the next tee. So that naturally should help us in that regard. We have at our point of sale stations, we have plexiglass in front, so the customer can come up, tell us their tee time. They go ahead and do the interaction with a safe, plexiglass barrier between us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will send them to their cart and let them know which cart is set for them, and then what time they go off. We have a nice big putting green out there, so people can, park their golf cart, get in line, stay a distance away from each other, and then if they choose to go out and chip and putt for a little bit, and then they'll know that their time's coming up and they can proceed to the tee box. So luckily our cart staging area, our practice putting green, it's all good size, so it shouldn't be a problem being able to socially distance.
Great. And I think one other question you'll probably be getting is, what about outings? I don't think we have anything. I think most of the outings for the foreseeable future, the next 3 or 4 weeks, have been postponed or canceled. What necessarily do we think it'll take to get outings going back again?
So, it kind of depends on the outing. We're hoping that at some point we'll be able to allow outings again. Within the golf industry, they're working on barriers in the golf carts, potentially putting in some sort of vinyl barrier between, maybe a plexiglass barrier between, where you can start riding in the same golf cart together. I think that's the biggest hurdle when it comes to outings. When you're looking at a 72-player shotgun and you have 55 golf carts or so, that poses a pretty big problem. So I think that would be one of the first hurdles for outings. The other is going to be the food and beverage portion of it. You'd be looking more at a takeout option, some sort of to-go box to take on the golf course and eat while you're out there. Having a banquet afterwards, again, at this point wouldn't be feasible. So you're probably looking at some sort of presentation that you can put together with raffle winners and event winners, and then you go ahead and mail out the prizes and raffle stuff from there. So it's not that it can't happen, it just there has to be some coordination involved.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a difficult situation. We understand the social nature of golf in general, but also the outings especially. So, the communal dinners probably can't be taking place anytime soon, but still an opportunity for organizations maybe to do the golf portion of it and to enjoy it. I thought one of the better suggestions I heard, and I know that this is going to be a difficult thing as well, is for golf outings, your sponsorships tend to be your profits. And maybe the idea of a year where it's difficult to ask these local businesses for a sponsorship, maybe accept the fact that you're going to have a little less profit, maybe roll those sponsorships over and let them have their signs out there for free for a year as a thank you for years past. I thought that was an outstanding concept. Yeah,
our LaPorte Athletic Booster Club kind of brought that up and said, I think Ed Gilliland's always been on the forefront of doing things the right way for the community. And one of the thoughts was to, like you said, go ahead and have your golf outing, allow your sponsors from 2019 to sponsor for free, get their names out there, put the whole signs out there, all the sponsorship banners, and just take it as more of a break even for this year, knowing that the times are what they are. It's a sign of goodwill.
Sure.
So I think there's a lot to be said for that. So be a community partner, go ahead and have the outing. It's not, the same as it always has been, but not much is right now.
Yeah, I think something that's an overlooked aspect of the golf course is that a lot of organizations have been able to have a lot of great outings out here and raise a lot of funds for their organization. And it's been a great function of the course. So if we don't have any questions on the course.
I've got a baseball question.
Sure.
We would like to know, is there any word on kids' t-ball or baseball?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's one that we're getting with more and more frequency as we get closer and closer into the summer months. Right now, we are at a standstill. We have been still waiting for direction from the governor. What needs to happen for our youth activities to start, and this is by the federal guidelines, the Opening Up of America guidelines that the CDC and the White House have put out, we need to get into what is known as phase 2. And to get into phase 1 and eventually into phase 2, we need to see a downward trajectory of infections. The number of cases have to be slowed. We also have to see increased testing. We're very encouraged by what the governor announced yesterday as far as increases in testing. So we think that that's a very positive thing. So once we're able to, as a state or as a region, move into phase 1, that will give us kind of a 2-week warning that there's a good chance we could move into phase 2 as long as everything stays on the right track. We're still very optimistic to have baseball, softball, t-ball, tennis lessons this year. We do believe that those are sports that are very easily adapted to allow for social distancing. We do know there'll be challenges, baseball and softball leagues in particular with the spectators. How would we manage those areas? But as far as managing the games themselves, I think with just a little bit of adaptation, we can really run those programs this year. Should we get to that point as a state and as a region, even the possibility that maybe this would go county by county. If your county is in a better spot, maybe you could start moving into those things. So we hope to have some announcements soon, but I can tell you that obviously we won't be starting within the next 2 weeks. If we are able to start, by the end of May and early June, and we extended the season to the end of July, I think we could still have those seasons. So we're kind of in a wait and see on it. Just speaking personally, having grown up, I've been around baseball my entire life, so it is kind of difficult. It's kind of heartbreaking not to be able to be out there and doing what we love to do. I've either played it, coached it, or watched it pretty much my entire lifetime. And to drive by the high school field or the neighborhood diamonds and not see any baseball or softball going on is a little difficult for all of us. I can say I've been pretty thrilled, though, with our youth coaches and the high school coaches that have supplied us with instructional videos. So check out our Facebook page if you're not on there right now and see some of the videos that have been posted. It's pretty exciting that they're wanting to keep the kids working on their skills. And there's a lot of benefit, much like the game of golf, Kyle, right? To work on your game individually. You don't always have to be out on the diamond to get better, just like you don't always have to be out on the course to get better. There's things you can all be working on in our backyards and in our garages. So we're pretty excited to be able to do it, but we're just having to be very cautious until we can meet those regulations. Long answer to a short question.
Sherry followed up and asked, do we get a refund on T-ball? I'm assuming she means if the season is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we don't run a program, we'll be offering, those refunds. We're going to start crossing those bridges once we get to them. Right now, we're just kind of on hold. But yeah, we will refund. We won't be asking people to roll money over or anything like that. We want to give them the product, and hopefully we can. We also know that some parents may not feel comfortable with the COVID-19 situation and maybe some of the protocols we put in place. And we'll be willing to work with those parents on a case-by-case individual basis. We certainly don't want anybody out there that doesn't feel comfortable with it, but we would like to be able to provide it. I know there's a lot of young boys, young girls out there that that's their sport and they're chomping at the bit to get out there and do it. So if we can at all do it, we're going to do it.
And I'll add real quick from a Beechwood perspective on fees. We did have quite a few people that did join and bought their membership prior to the COVID situation. We are offering a 25% rebate for them that they could take advantage of. So we know that we were closed for a good portion of the spring. So anyone that did purchase their memberships, they can get a reimbursement of 25% of that fee, as well as anyone who purchases their memberships here forward gets it at a 25% discount for each of our memberships as well. So that's one thing that we did as an adjustment to everything that's going on.
No, and I think that's a great deal. You still have all of May, June, July, August, September, and into October to still play. So I think that would be a great opportunity for some people to still get memberships this year.
Linda asked, will married couples be able to ride together, or is it strictly one person per cart?
So yes, if you live in the same household, if you live in the same household with someone, you can ride on the golf cart together. Yes.
Yeah, and that's kind of the same as any of our park protocols. If you're walking on the trail or going out to play tennis or whatever it is, if you're from the same household, certainly it's understandable that you would be able to do those activities together, out bike riding or whatever. It's just we've asked most of the other things to remain either individuals or same household.
Dylan said, just tuned in. Are they still going to do kids golf instructional program this summer?
We hope so. And kind of like Mark was saying about the phase 2. So once we move into phase 2, that would be another program that would fall into that category. So the kids instructional program on Monday mornings, we will most likely we potentially will have to move dates. We actually don't start it until June. So we have a good month plus to adjust that if needed. So yeah, our goal is absolutely to run that program this summer. It's on Monday mornings. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, one of the other things I did want to hit on is, and we still get these questions, or we see them on the mayor's AMA segments. The parks are open. The parks are not closed. You are able to go out and take a jog, take a nice walk the dog, take a bike ride with your family, exercise in the park. But again, we ask people to try and social distance. If you're not within the same household, make sure that you're not gathering groups together any larger than what we would want. And right now, that number is pretty much limited to your household. So we do ask people to do these things as individuals. But the one area that we really need help with is the playgrounds are closed, and this is a state order. Number one, they want to slow the social distancing there. They want people to be social distancing, not gathering in groups. Part of the concern is, the research on how long COVID can live on surfaces is still not quite clear, but we're hearing anywhere from 3 to 4 days on plastic and metals. And we just simply don't have the ability to go out and disinfect every half hour. And that's what it would take. If we disinfected just once during the day, a child who is a carrier of COVID goes out and he's on the slide, and we know kids go to the mouth, they're coughing or whatever they might do. We just couldn't ensure that those surfaces would be ready. So we really urge parents to take heed of that and to stay off the playgrounds. We've also had to, unfortunately, close off the skate park for the same reason, as well as the fitness court in Kessling Park. So we're just asking people to have a little patience. We are constantly monitoring this with the state health, with the Indiana Parks and Rec Association. I'm on calls or meetings probably about 3 times a week, trying to look for what the latest is. I know we have seen some research that has come out that is talking about the possibility that sunlight will kill off some of the COVID. We hope that that's the case, but right now that's inconclusive. So we would be hesitant to tell anybody to take that advice. We still need to adhere to the state's warning. Something that the governor has emphasized actually of late is playgrounds need to stay closed, and any of those surfaces, areas where people would be touching surfaces, need to stay closed for a while. Thus, not putting the ball washers out here or allowing people to touch the flags.
Do you want to talk about the basketball hoops as well?
Yeah, we've had a couple inquiries about that. Another, unfortunate side effect of everything, and trying to get that social distancing and not allow groups. In a number of our parks, we left the hoops up thinking that maybe they could be used by family members or by individuals. Unfortunately, we were getting groups as large as 10 or 12 on some of these courts. The calls were coming in from the neighbors. They were either calling the park office, city hall, the police station. Ultimately, we made the decision to, in the best interest of the community's health, to take the rims off. We will put them up the first chance we get, as soon as we get to a phasing that allows us to ease those limitations and restrictions. We want people on those courts. I think one of the difficult things, and Kyle just went through it in the last month, this is golf season and he can't have any golfers. It's very difficult for our park staff to go through this. It's counterintuitive for us to try and find ways to keep people out of the parks. We work really hard to design and put amenities into the parks that would draw people in, and design programs that people would enjoy doing. And when we have to discourage people from coming into the parks or cancel programs, that is the last thing we want to be doing. It's disheartening, and we have to just kind of keep our eye on the better days that are ahead in order to keep a positive attitude about it. But we hope that the public understands these aren't things that we take any type of joy in doing. It's very difficult for our staff to have to tell people you can't enjoy these things.
Do you want to talk about some of the programs, the virtual programs that you've been running?
Yeah, we've been pretty excited about our Facebook content, and we hope people that are on Facebook now, if you're not on our page, please go by and visit. But we've had a lot of fun stuff. I mentioned earlier some of the baseball lessons. Our tennis instructors put some lessons out there last week, some things kids can work on at home. And then we've had some really great contests that our recreation director, Pam Carroll, and our office staff have put together. The big one that people really got a kick out of was the Cupcake Wars for Kids. We got a lot of entries, a lot of voting on that. We've had our Crazy Hair Days. We have a fairy garden contest going, as well as now we have another drawing contest for kids of what you like about parks or what you like in your parks. So we've been trying to keep everybody pretty motivated. We've thrown out there some ideas of activities you can do at home. Today, we just had a post of people can show us the puzzles they put together, and we've had some as many as 2,000, I think 3,000 piece puzzles that people have been showing off. So we want to keep people engaged as best we can. And as we go further into this situation and it gets warmer and we're out into summer, we're going to be looking at even more ways to engage with our community. Where we had our summer playground program, if we're not able to get that going in a timely fashion or ready to roll that out in June, maybe we can provide some of the crafts for people and demonstrate how we were going to do those for the day, or share some of our lessons. And these are things that you can do at home or in the backyard with your family or your immediate household. So there's a lot of cool stuff that I think we've been able to do on Facebook, but obviously, we'd much prefer doing them, with the community.
Leonard asked, will tea times ever sell out as some other courses around the county have?
So what we do, we have to really closely monitor how many, when we take the tea time, we're going to ask you how many players are in your group, and then how many of those players are going to ride. And then we'll also ask if there's anyone in the same household, so that we can be very confident how many carts are going to be on the golf course. And then we base that off of a 4-hour and 15-minute round, so that we only take as many tee times as we can handle for the amount of golf carts that we have. After that has happened, then all we can offer in that block of time is potentially walking tee times. And then as time goes and it comes to like 1 o'clock and then 2 o'clock, and those golf carts start to come in from the morning rounds, then we open up tee times as well. So you're going to see availability of tee times be more accessible in the mornings into early afternoon. And then as we get more and more booked, we'll have to block off more times and allow just walking times during that. And then as we start to get golf carts come back off the golf cart, we'll sanitize them, wash them, and then bring them back for use. So on our end, we have to very closely monitor our tee sheet and do it that way. So at any one point in time, we can have 55 people on the golf course on a golf cart, and then walkers on top of that.
Mark, can you maybe provide an update on Arts in the Park?
We are in very close contact with Arts in the Park. Obviously they're trying to, they've got their concert season already planned. So, they're wondering whether they're going to start on time. We had a group Zoom with them last week where we kind of went over what might happen or what might not happen. This involves not just the phasing in terms of what the federal government's rolling out, but also where the CDC and the state get to with the number of people that can be in an event. Even if we were able to raise to 50 people in a gathering, we're probably not there. If we 250, we may not be there. Also, it depends on who's performing. I had a conversation with the city band leader last week, and they have a 40-piece band, trying to fit them on the amphitheater stage. Some of them are in the age category where they would obviously be at a greater risk. So there are challenges to doing it. It's not as easy as just saying we will. We're engaged with the VFW and the American Legion right now on the Memorial Day ceremony, which is kind of the kickoff to summer in terms of amphitheater events. But we plan by the first of next week to re-engage with Arts in the Park. Hopefully by then the governor has given us some indication of if we're moving into certain phasing or what direction he might be going with as far as raising that number of people that can be at one venue. But we're holding out hope, and we've even had discussions with them of if they can't get their concerts starting on time, maybe some of these acts would be willing to do virtual concerts or some things like that we could stream to Facebook to keep people entertained. But we know our community loves Arts in the Park. We appreciate that committee so much, everything they do for us. But we're kind of in that same holding pattern that we are on a lot of summer activities right now.
Jill asked, will adult softball leagues be on the same timelines as youth sports?
Well, both of them we'd like to start as soon as we can. We may be able to start adults before we start the youth, but we don't know that quite yet for sure. We'd like to get it going as soon as we can. I think the adults, we have the ability to maybe take a little deeper into the fall. Of course, we'd want to still potentially have our fall co-ed leagues, but we know how much adult softball means to those players, so we want to offer it if at all possible. I would say, definitely nothing will be starting within the next couple weeks. Is it possible to get started towards the end of the month? Yes. One of the things about adult softball, I don't think they need that practice time to lead into games. We might be able to get them out there, give them a week, and then get games going fairly quickly. And then also maybe, they're used to playing one night a week. We might have to have a situation where we have a makeup night during the week or readjust the schedule to a second night in order to accommodate a full schedule. And that's kind of what we're looking at. If we can't accommodate full schedules with some of these programs, and we're not starting till June or maybe even the beginning of July, at that point, maybe we just start looking at offering these things more on a fall timeline. But again, all those decisions are somewhat on hold until we get more direction from the state health and from the governor.
This isn't a question, but Travis said best pro in NWI, Kyle, hands down.
Thank you, Travis Hamilton.
Well, we believe that
Appreciate
as well.
that.
We believe that as well. We're thrilled to have Kyle out here, and he runs an outstanding operation. So we're pretty excited to get it going.
Thank
you. One of the other things, obviously, people I'm sure are wondering about the Civic Auditorium. We have our staff back and working now, but the Civic Auditorium remains closed to the public, so we don't have any walking going on there. Obviously, all events are canceled. We're still in that time frame that the CDC set up that said an 8-week period. That expires on May 10th. We're expecting, again, to get more guidance as that gets closer as far as them telling us how large a gathering can happen. Again, if that's 50 people, that may allow certain events. If it's 250, it may allow others. But as far as any large-scale events such as the symphony concerts or larger scale events, we just don't know that that'll be able to happen until we get the green light to open up that number a little bit larger. So we know that the Civic is something people are missing. Cummings Lodge is on the same type of situation. Things are canceled through May 10th. If we are able to get to where people are allowed to have events of 50 or more, or maybe 100, it has a capacity of 88. So we need to know that we can social distance and have those events in a safe fashion before we can allow those family reunions, graduation parties, and other functions there to go on.
What about Red Wine and Brew? Is that kind of in the same place as Arts in the Park?
Yeah, we've also had conversations with Red Wine and Brew. Their organizers, Bethany Church. I've talked with Carrie Garwood. She'd like to kind of hold out maybe till the end of May to make a decision on whether they're able to do that or not. Again, it's one of those things that's completely out of our hands, because if we can't have larger scale crowds out on the beach, then that probably would force a postponement. They are open to the idea of postponing if necessary, but they would like to keep that July 3rd if they all can. I mean, obviously, the question that comes up with all of this is, even when we are able to open up, even when we are able to offer some of these larger scale events or open programs or leagues, there are people that simply aren't going to be comfortable doing that just yet, and at what level they'll do it. I think Red Wine and Brew is something that people will strongly support, because it does, all of the proceeds do go to our first responders. And I think we all know right now that our first responders, our medical staffs, and of course, all the essential workers, the grocery stores, the truckers, everybody have been really pulling a big load for us. So if we can have that Red Wine and Brew, we're going to. There may be challenges with things like the fireworks, or maybe we'd have to limit the attendance. But we're going to work with it and put these type of events on in any way that we possibly can.
I don't have any more questions coming in. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
From a parks perspective, again, we're just asking people to social distance, make sure you're staying 6 feet apart. If you're out on our trails, please, make sure that if you're not with your immediate family, please try to walk alone, or at least social distance yourself to that 6 feet if you at all can. And that goes for our trails, the tennis courts, any families that might want to go out and use the ball diamonds. We just want everybody to please help cooperate to the best we can. We do have people that are making calls into the park office with their concerns when they see some situations where either people aren't social distancing or they're on amenities that we have closed. You can call the park office, but our direction really is to call the non-emergency police number if you have a grave concern. Let them handle it in their fashion, and that's probably the best way to go with it. But more than anything, Kyle, I just think we're excited that there's going to be golf here this weekend.
Absolutely. Looking forward to Friday. Feels like a long time coming. So
Yeah,
excited about it.
I've got a Sunday tea time, so I'm pretty excited to get out there with some friends. We've been Zooming, so it'd be nice to, even from 10 or 20 feet away, to be able to get back out and have some enjoyment out on the course. We're pretty excited to be out there.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I know there might have been some that came in on either on the Beechwood site or maybe even on the city site that we didn't get to, but we'll go back through and we will answer those in the comment section as we get a chance to later this afternoon.
Thank you.